Hey guys, I recently finished the very last page in my sketchbook, my mini sketchbook, and I think this is probably the first sketchbook I've ever actually finished. I do a lot of writing, so I finish a lot of journals and I finish a lot of notebooks, but I've never actually finished a sketchbook before. This is the first time. I'm feeling pretty accomplished and I'm really enjoying the way that doing art every day feels. And one thing that I really enjoy watching is other people share their sketchbooks after they're done. They do these sketchbook tours. So that's what I'm going to do today with mine. And this is a Strathmore sketch. It is only, 3.5 inches by 5 inches. It's very small, and it has 100 sheets of paper or something in it. I think that's what it has. Yeah, 100 sheets. And so it's looking pretty thick, looking like a little snack. And I'm pretty excited about it. One thing that I actually really like about sketchbooks as people start to fill them is that they do get a little bit of oomph. They get a little bit more crunchy. This is my brand new sketchbook. It's exactly the same, but with a dark green cover instead. And you can see that it's much more streamlined. I did do today's mini message in there, so it is not totally blank anymore, but you can see that even with just one page done, it's starting to get that crinkly girth. But the brand new sketchbook is this big. The one that is completely full is this big. That's a huge difference, and I'm pretty excited about it. But anyway, I'm not going to do the new sketchbook today because it's 99 blank pages and one full page. And these are all full, and so I'm going to share them with you guys today. One thing I've always done with my sketchbooks ever since I was a kid was start them mostly from the back of the book rather than from the front. So the first pages here are the last ones I filled out, and the backmost ones are the ones I filled out first, partially because sketchbooks are really intimidating. And when I would look at other sketchbooks from people who I considered to be, better artists than myself, the first few pages were always so magnificent and beautiful, and I was intimidated by that. So most of my sketchbooks I've actually started from the very back. So that's what I'm going to do with this one, so that I can show you the evolution of the sketches themselves. So the ones on the very back are ones that I have cut out recently. If you watched my vlog from the other week, you saw that I cut out some of my designs so that I could try and get some postcards made of them. And so I just paper clipped them to the back here so that I could keep them with the book even though they've already been cut out. So that's what these ones are. And I'm not going to try and go through and put these back, on the dates that I actually made them. I'll just show them to you really quick, and then we'll get started. So it's a little bit out of order, this little sketchbook tour, but that's okay. The first sketches that I did in here are very different than what I just showed you or what you've seen if you follow my Patreon. These are just very light colored pencil sketches that I did. My mom and I got these sketchbooks at the same time, and so for a few days we just went around the town that she was living in and went out into the mountains and did some exploring, and so we just sketched kind of what we saw. I guess you call that plein air. So these are pretty different than what you've seen from me recently, but now we have a grocery list. But I think they were definitely necessary for when I was doing them. And then we have a little bit of a sketch game, a little squiggle game. Looks like we have another grocery list, and then some more sketches. Just colored pencil and a little bit of fine tip Sharpie going on. And then here's where they start getting more like what you've seen today. This was actually the first one that I did in this current rendition or the current series. This was on March 24th of 2021, and I did this because my soul was like, you need to do something creative, you need to do something colorful, you need to do something with a message. And then from there they evolved a little bit more, and this is kind of where they started being you know, what you guys have seen today. And each page was done, you know, one mini page a day, one little mini message a day. And I started it because it felt good, and then I continued it because it continued to feel good. So I'm now at almost 3 months of daily painting, daily messages, daily art, and I feel great, like mentally and in my soul. And all of these have been shared on my Patreon already, because I share my daily messages over there. If you're not a patron and you want to see these as they're created, go join. I also share brief messages with the message, like a little bit of a paragraph about what inspired the message or what I think it means, other things I need to think about, and maybe you need to think about them as well. Maybe what's going on in my life is similar to what's going on in your life, or maybe you just need these messages outside of that time. Who really knows? But if you want to see these messages as they're produced in real time, go join my Patreon where I share them. And I should have postcards here soon if you want to see any of these in that way, and you want to have them in your own life, you want to be able to send them to other people as they need them. This is just a quick look at the evolution of, I guess, the style, if you want to call this my style. I also have a few of these, as you can see, that are not in my usual style, but I feel like they were needed for that day's message, and I could go into them in more detail. Just let me know if you want like a video specifically about any of them, or if you want more information about any of them. But these are all mixed media with a watercolor base, and my watercolor set is basically just this little pencil case, this little metal pencil case that I've had for years. And I have my Altoids tin where I keep my little wells and my paints. Some of them need to be refilled. I use this little jar for water. Clearly it's been used. I have 3 brushes in here, but I really only use one of them. I really only use this size 8 DaVinci brush. I like the shape of it. It's round with like a nice pointy tip, so I can make my details, and I can also, you know, carry a lot of water in there and make, you know, bigger swaths of color. I only have 3 colors of paint. I only have the primary colors, red, yellow, blue, and then I also have black. So all of the colors you see in all of my paintings are only made from these 4. And if you've ever bought watercolors before, you know that they're a little bit expensive, and that's why I only have 4 of them. But that's my watercolor kit. So all of these images were made with that kit. They're all watercolor, like I said, they're mixed media. So then after I do the watercolor, I go over them with Sharpies. These are the Sharpies I use. Again, just really basic set of colors. I like the fine tips. They give me more control over the shapes I want to make. And then I have a vast collection of washi tape that go over it as well. This is washi tape here. This is washi tape here. That's one of the hardest parts about trying to get these printed as postcards, is keeping the glitter. I'm not really sure how to do that, if I need to get some kind of like special metallic print. I'm not really sure. We'll see how the first ones turn out. They haven't come out as of the recording of this video, but I feel like I should get the package maybe sometime next week, and I will obviously share that process with you and whether I like the outcome or not. But throughout the process of making all of these messages, I feel like I definitely have gotten more in touch with like myself and my needs, who I am, who I want to be, and that sort of thing. I definitely don't see myself stopping the daily messages. I mean, I showed you I have another sketchbook already started, they do bring me a lot of like peace and joy. So I'm going to continue doing them. If you guys have any kind of art practice, whether it's daily or weekly or, you know, sporadically as you need it, I would love to hear more about that. Just leave that in the comments. Tell me about it. If you share your art on here on YouTube or on Instagram or anything, like, send it to me, tag me in it. I want to see what other people are creating, because that is something that gives me more inspiration to keep creating myself. As you can see, I really like to fill the page. I don't like to leave, you know, huge borders or big gaps or anything, partially because these pages are so small, but also even in my bigger sketchbooks, I do like to fill the entire page. If you're feeling intimidated by, you know, busting out some paints or some markers, crayons, colored pencils, whatever, if you're feeling intimidated by doing art, I would absolutely recommend starting small. That's part of the reason I have the mini kit that I have, is because I could fit small, tiny, like 2-inch pieces of paper in my Altoids tin, and then I could just start really, really small. And so this is a step up from that, being 3.5 by 5 inches. It's definitely bigger than like 2 inches by 1 inch. But it's not as big as my other sketchbook that is, I don't know, probably like 5 by 8. I still find the bigger sketchbooks to be intimidating, even after, you know, having filled out this one for almost 3 whole months. So that's how it goes. That's how we did it. It's all done now. And I'm excited to continue with my brand new one. And if you want to start sketching, or you want to start painting, you want to start doing these mini messages, would recommend getting yourself something small, because it's not as intimidating for your brain when you get started with it. So thank you for attending this little tour of my little sketchbook. I'm curious what you think about it. I've never done one of these before. I do like watching them, like I said, but I'm not sure how to make them more interesting for you. I realize that 100 pages is kind of a lot of pages to look through. If the next time I finish a sketchbook, do you want to see all the pages? Do you want to only see a few of them? Do you want to know more about the process? Let me know what you're curious about, because it's probably what other people are curious about too. I just try to do my best to share what I've experienced and to share what I appreciate. But again, thank you for coming, and I hope that if you haven't subscribed yet, if you've made it this far in the video, you probably liked it, so go ahead and subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. That helps us get seen by the algorithm so that other people can see all of this stuff. And I mentioned multiple times throughout the tour about my Patreon, but I'll leave a link for that as well. That does have behind the scenes access to see my daily messages as I make them, in addition with those explainer paragraphs that go with them as well. And then I also, like I said, am getting postcards made of some of these messages, maybe also some of my photography. I'm going to be restructuring my tiers so that those are available. You can get some of these in the mail to you from me, and I share other behind the scenes information there as well. So I try to share as much as I can here on YouTube and on Instagram, but if you want just a little bit extra, go join the Patreon. And yeah, I hope you guys tune in next week for another excellent video.